Mount Rushmore, one of America's most iconic landmarks, is a symbol of the history and ingenuity of the American people. More than 2.5 million people visit this national monument each year, but they skip places such as the ones I'm going to show you in this video. The Iron Mountain Road, which starts in the heart of Custer State Park and journeys through beautiful vistas as it winds and cuts through a series of tunnels, is just as impressive and worthy of a visit. Join me today on this epic journey to see the iconic landmarks of the Black Hills. You're probably wondering, where did I take you this time? I am standing on top of Mount Coolidge Fire Tower. So these fire towers are placed all over the United States to help rangers look out and see for any potential wildfires. Now, Mount Coolidge is one of the most easily accessible points here in Custer State Park. Blackout Peak is located there. That's where I took you guys to see the amazing sunset in previous video. But from here, you have an unobstructed view all over Custer State Park, and it's a very easy 1.5 mile drive. Any car can make it. You follow up this narrow road all the way up here. You can park here and just enjoy the view. And I love this quote right here: 1 minute, don't read, don't talk, just enjoy the views. As you're exploring Custer State Park, you have to stop at the visitor center. I was only going to stop here to show you the beautiful grounds, but I actually went inside and watched a movie narrated by Kevin Costner. It gives you chills to see all the places that I visited over the last couple days. Now, in and around the visitor center, there are many beautiful campgrounds and historic lodges, the State Lodge and other ones that are located just half a mile down the road.
Carved from granite, covered in pine, this is the home of the first people. The Northern Plains tribes who shared this land of green grass and blue skies with Tatanka, the buffalo. An enduring symbol of the Old West. For countless generations, Tatanka has stood for abundance, strength, and power.
As I was starting to drive to the Iron Mountain, I spotted a herd of buffalo over here. There's about 5 of them, and they just coming out from the wildlife loop. So if you continue down that road, that's where the wildlife loop. And we are just outside of the Custer State Park Visitor Center. I am now near the east entrance of the Custer State Park, and look at the sign, and there is bison right in front of it. How fitting. We are just about to jump on US Highway 68, or otherwise known as the Iron Mountain, and we're gonna take that road for the next 16 miles, and we're gonna come out to a beautiful overlook of Mount Rushmore and make many stops along the way. What a beautiful and perfect day for a drive like this. Look at all the mountains here in the Black Hills. The native Lakota Indians called it the Pahasapa, the land of Black Hills, and the name has since stuck. But look at all around me. Maybe you can even see in the distance there's Mount Rushmore coming into view for the very first time. This is the Peter Norbeck Overlook, the highest point on the Iron Mountain Road. He was the first governor of South Dakota, responsible for creating many projects here in the state, such as the Needles Highway, which we drove through yesterday. But something about this drive, as you drive through the curvy roads, the smell of fresh pines, it just hits you all at once. It's a wonderful drive that you have to do when you're here in Custer. And from this overlook, there's a small parking lot. Be sure to step out and have a look around, because from here you can see Mount Rushmore directly. And then there's the last stop we're gonna make before we head to see one of the most treasured national monuments in the country. Because of this gentleman right here, Dwayne Robinson, a South Dakotan state historian, we now have Mount Rushmore. When he was traveling through the Needles Highway, he noticed a spot and he thought of an opportunity to invite more visitors to South Dakota. And he proposed that they carve out faces of Western figures. They hired a local sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, to survey the area, which he deemed not fit for carving. They later found Mount Rushmore, which you can see right through this tunnel. As you drive through this beautiful tunnel, you come into face with the national monument of Mount Rushmore and the 4 presidents. Together, Dwayne Robinson, Gutzon Borglum, and Peter Norbeck have created one of the most iconic landmarks in the entire country. I cannot believe I am here. I am about to step into one of the most important national monuments here in the United States. Mount Rushmore, bearing 4 president heads carved into the side of the mountain. Mount Rushmore is synonymous with USA, much like Liberty Bell and the Statue of Liberty. We're about to explore this beautiful national monument. When you enter the monument, you will be greeted by the Avenue of the Flags. Here you will find all 50 flags of the 50 states that make up United States of America. There's a lot to be said about Mount Rushmore. For example, there was a huge debate who to carve out on the faces of Mount Rushmore. Before the faces were even agreed upon, it was an idea to carve out local heroes in the Needles district just south of here. Or did you know that the artist behind the creation of Mount Rushmore, Gutzon Borglum, died just few months before the completion of Mount Rushmore? You can actually go to the visitor center and work about his art. In addition to checking out the Grand Terrace, which is the view right as you pass the Avenue of the Flags, take a left and go to the Presidential Trail. It's only half a mile round trip, but you come and view right in front of the faces and you can start to see the details. From my left, we have the first president, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. A very intriguing fact that I learned about Mount Rushmore is that prior to 1885, it had no name. You see, in 1885, a New York attorney by the name Charles Rushmore came to visit this area, and when he inquired his guide what the name was, he said there was none, so they named it after him, Rushmore. The gentleman later donated money to help jumpstart the project to create one of the most famous monuments here in North America. Now, there is another beautiful monument carved into the rock just 30 minutes south of here, the Crazy Horse, and I want to take you guys there and tell you about the history of how the monument came about. After the completion of Mount Rushmore, an Oglala Lakota chief invited a famous Polish sculptor, Korczak Ziółkowski, to come out and see these lands. He wanted a memorial dedicated to all the people of this land. After a thoughtful consideration, he accepted and construction promptly began in 1948. Korczak continued to work on this beautiful monument to honor the people of this land until he died in 1982. This project was never federally or state funded. It was only funded by donation and admissions to the park. The monument is a work in progress. No one knows if it will ever get finished. You can see the actual monument compared to the vision of Korczak and what it's supposed to look like. You can see it's still missing a lot of pieces, but this is the final piece. And behind me, if you come to the Overlook Terrace, there are photos over the years how the monument has been taking shape. This whole museum dedicated to Crazy Horse is just stunning. So many displays, so many sculptures created by Korczak, and this leaves us with a perfect view to end an incredible week of adventures here in the Black Hills. I enjoyed every single minute, the drives, the scenery, the people I've met along the way, and I want to create a special video to showcase all the things there is to see in Black Hills to help you plan your next travel. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. In the meantime, you can check out my other videos from here in South Dakota.